Welcome to day 6. So we're fast approaching the end of this series. This is the free series, so it's really short and sharp. And we've learned so many things so far. We've learned about how your foundation affects you. We've learned about the formula for sweetness and greatness, how to achieve that balance between the two parts, our two parts. We've talked about how to manage your emotions. We've talked about how to catch a vision, how to build values. We've talked about how to set goals and achieve. So different things we've talked about, and everything we're doing, like I said in the initial, the introduction, is that everything we're doing is towards getting you to activate your potentials. There are things that we have internally that we need to stir up, that we need to get moving, that we need to get going. So there are just some things that are, potential, just like oil that is sleeping. But that oil that is sleeping needs some fire to start to flow. So the idea for this whole course is to get us going, get us moving, get us seeing what we have inside and putting in the investment or putting in the work or the effort it takes to stir up whatever is inside us. So activating your potential, then building your personality. You have a personality to build. Your personality comes raw and anyhow, but you need to build it. You need to balance it. You need to achieve some kind of balance so that you can be able to achieve your goals, because your personality can get in the way. If you don't know how to manage some aspects of your personality, it can get in the way of achieving your goals or even fulfilling your destiny. And the final thing is for us to clarify our purpose. So there's something you're here for. And all these things that have been given to us, all the gifts that we have, all the potentials that we have, the personality that we are given, everything is for us to fulfill that plan, that purpose for our lives. So our lives have meaning. And so whatever we've been equipped with is for us to fulfill that. So sometimes when we set out on this journey, because we talked about how to start the journey, how to set out all the dynamics that we can face. We've talked about the external obstacles. We've talked about the internal ones that have to do with your emotions, that have to do with parts of your personality that comes from inside. So most of the obstacles that we're going to face in life might not necessarily come from other people or other things. It might just be something that comes from within, something that is hindering us within. So we've talked about that, how to manage through that. That session was really hot because people kept coming back with questions and questions. In fact, we had to stop and start again, just so that people can ask questions and I can say some practical stories, because that seemed to be like one of the major issues or the things that stop us, and that was really hot. So, but at the end of the day, once we have things activated, once we have things built up to an extent, and then once we have the destination clear, there's nothing stopping you anymore. There's nothing stopping you. What we need to do is to keep progressing. What we need to do is to keep getting better. What we need to do is keep searching, keep getting better, keep getting more clarity, keep building in. You can build a house, like for some people who have maybe land, for instance, and maybe they start to build their houses. I know a lot of people who just get land and they're building their houses. They might have moved into the house. The house might just be maybe like they just plaster it. They've not painted it. So it's just there. So it's at least it has a roof over their head. So there's a roof over their head. And so it seems like something. But that house, they will never be satisfied with staying there. They keep building in things, finishing the house, adding up more things. So we as we are a building project. My husband likes to refer to us like that. He always says it, that set up your construction site in our lives, because we're a building project. And so today's topic is talking about that journey, that building journey, that journey to excellence, that journey to perfection, that journey that is a progressive one. So we never ever attain perfection. We might never ever attain full perfection on this side of life, but that journey must continue. That journey of perfection, we must be invested in the journey to keep getting better. So today's topic is talking about how we are going to upgrade ourselves, to have excellent results, because we're not just getting better for getting better sake. You're not progressing for just progression's sake. You're progressing because the more refined or upgraded you are, the more value you add to life in general. So it's a matter of how much value can you bring to the table? How much value can you keep contributing? How much value can you bring in, and continue to bring in and not stop bringing in? So the idea is that the more you refine yourself, the more valuable you are. So we're not getting better, but because we want to get more excellent results, because we want to get better results, then we make up our mind and commit ourselves to the process of perfection, of getting better. So whatever you have been given is given to us in a raw state. So whether you have intelligence, your intelligence is still is not even 1% of the capacity that it really truly has if it is fully developed. So you might have intelligence. Intelligence is there, but it's not all there is. It can still unfold into something worth more. So I'd like to say that everything we're given is given in seed form. Everything that we have is given in the form that it seems to have encapsulated much more in it. So you see a seed can enter your hand, but the things that can come out of that seed cannot contain your hand. It can't contain your room. It can't even contain your house. A whole forest can come out of a seed. So that's the potential. That's what can come out of your raw form, as raw as it might be. So we can't settle. We can't just say, oh, I'm okay. Never. That idea of being okay is one of the most dangerous ideas in life. When you just feel you can do, when you feel you have everything it takes, when you feel there's no need, they said the greatest room in this world is the room for improvement. So we must keep improving on ourselves. So whatever we've been given is in a seed form. So you must put in the efforts, you must put in the investment to bring out the full value, to refine it. Think about a diamond. I've given this analogy some time back. It's just there. You never know what it's worth until someone who knows its worth goes, takes it out, refines it, turns it into something, a beautiful piece of jewelry that becomes more expensive in the market. So the diamond you mine, that someone maybe buys off a miner, what he will use the diamond, the worth of the diamond after he's done with it can never be compared to what he paid the miner. So that process of upgrading, increases your value. So when it comes to improvement, personal development requires you to break some barriers barriers of like status quo, inertia, things that, oh, you just want to stay this way. But for you to develop, for you to grow, there are actually boundaries breaking. If you see a small child, the child is a little, but to grow, they have to stretch. So there are things you need to stretch. And in the areas, we're just going to look at some of the areas that are required for us to stretch, for us to upgrade. So when it comes to your character building, initially we talked about the foundational ability the foundation of the aspects or the elements of our foundation has to do with character and connectedness. So that character that you develop that is still in a immature state, you need to keep on building. You need to build in different aspects of character. And in the later aspects, you need to start building things like resilience, things like endurance. There are some depths, deeper level of character. And then when it comes to relationship building, some of us, we can't manage difficult people. We can't even do it. But there's a time in your life where you will need to manage difficult people. You need to manage more people. So to upgrade yourself, the ability to be able to handle more out of life, carry more load, that ability has to be built. The ability to also handle more people or diverse kind of people. That's an area of personal development that moves you from just developing as a, personal development to leadership development. So one way to upgrade yourself for excellent results is when you move from just personal development to leadership development. So you're not just talking of leading yourself, understanding yourself, developing yourself, but you're now looking at how to develop other people, how to get them to do work, how to get them to achieve results. So that is an upgrade that increases the value of your results. So if I can achieve something for myself alone, I know the value to bring. The value to bring is little compared to what I can achieve if I can do it through people. So you see people who can lead organizations, people who start businesses, people who start organizations. You see their results are more excellent, they are bigger, they are more valuable because they've upgraded themselves from just mere personal development to leadership development. So in character building, relationship building, those are the aspects that you need to build when you want to make that transition. Then things like self-awareness is also one of the strong parts of personal development that you need to get into. So you need to understand yourself to a point where you even understand what are the things that limit you. You understand what are the things that ticks you off about yourself, not just yourself, but just about people. So things like self-awareness, self-confidence, self-esteem. To upgrade yourself, if somebody lacks self-confidence, the person can't bring in more value. For instance, now you want to get excellent results in sales and you lack self-esteem, you lack self-confidence, you will not be able to sell anything. Because before you can sell to someone else, you sell yourself. It's yourself that you actually sell first of all. So you bring yourself to the table. So if you're lacking self-confidence, that's an upgrade that you are lacking that will hinder or limit your results. So when we talk about our gifts, our talents, our abilities, a lot of people can sing, but the singers that stand out, the people who earn high, are the people who have invested a lot of time, a lot of effort in building that skill, that raw skill. So the more time they put in, so I'm reading a book called Outliers. I've read it before, but I'm reading it again. I'm talking about the concept of, for you to be perfect in something, you need to have put in a minimum of 10,000 hours of practice. So you see that people who are earning more in singing or drama, they are putting in the work to get better. So the results they are getting is because of the upgrades they've made in their skills, in their gifts, in their talents. So they don't say, there's a book John Maxwell wrote called Talent is Not Enough. So you might have talent, but it's not enough. That raw gift has to be upgraded to be perfect, to stand out. In other words, stand out. Because if it's available everywhere, this thing called demand and supply is what determines the worth or the value of things. So if there's a high demand for something and the supply is low, the value just automatically springs up. But if the demand is low, the supply is high. You can see that. So that law of economics kind of determines value. So the rarer a skill or a talent or an ability is, the more valuable it is. And so that's what makes people. So, but the problem is that there are not enough people that want to put in the work it takes to upgrade, to do that upgrade. So it's a challenge for us, especially us as women, to be very, very tenacious when it comes to upgrading ourselves, because that's where excellent results, better results lie. That's where it lies. And so we have the abilities, we have it, but we need to now put in that, you can use words like ambition, the ability to dream bigger than we normally would. So that thing called ambition, that thing called picture. Last week we talked about vision. So you need to have a vision. You need to have a bigger vision than even what you feel you can do. So that vision is what drives you to upgrade yourself. And it's important for us to do that. So things like spiritual quotient, emotional quotient, intelligence quotient, IQ, build quotients, build the ability, build abilities, build the capacity to carry some things, capacity to process things on each level. So if I'm able to process things spiritually, that capacity to process things spiritually, that's spiritual quotient, that is upgrade. But capacity to intellectually process things, and not just intellectually process it, but process it quickly, you know, that's quotient. That's an upgrade that can bring you into a place where your results are more, your results are better, your results are stand out. And that's what excellence is about. It stands out. It's not like what everybody else is doing. It's something that has a touch, an extra to it, you know. So things like health, wealth, you know, those are the other levels of upgrades. Lifestyle, upgrade yourself, the way you come across, the way you act, the way you dress. You know, these are upgrades because people see you externally before they see what you have. So a lot of times there are people who we have a lot, but because of the way we present, you know, we can put people off without them having the opportunity to even know what we can. So I tell people there's no second chance to make a first impression. So you're going for an interview, you're going to sell something, or you're going to talk to someone. You don't just go anyhow, because that first impression you make can make or mar the outcome of whatever it is you're looking out to get. And so those things are key. And that's what helps, that's what brings you into a different league, into a different class, into a different level. You know, you need to start thinking on that different level. You need to start acting on that different level. You need to start packaging on that level, and then every other thing will fall in place. So I've looked at different aspects. So we are multifaceted. We're not just physical, or we're not just spiritual, or we're not just emotional. We have all these facets of our lives. So don't upgrade one side and downgrade the other. So that upgrade should be total, it should be balanced. And that's where balance comes into this thing. So it's not just in our personality, in our development, we should be balanced. Every aspect of our lives have to be, you know, upgraded. So things like words like avoiding average is one of the themes of this lesson. Avoid average. Let everything you do stand out. And that's the secret of value. If you're just everywhere, average, there's average. But if you want to be excellent, and if you want to get more results and more outcomes and more wealth, more, you just want to get more, you need to stand out. So you need to get into that journey of excellence, that I'm improving myself daily, I'm progressing daily. So if the problem with not consciously progressing is that if you just stop and you just stay, you will regress. Imagine a rocket. You shoot up a rocket into space. There's fire burning on that rocket. There's something propelling it upwards. When that thing propelling it upwards, if for any reason that propellant stops propelling, that rocket won't hover. It won't just hang in one place. No, that rocket, there's another force called gravity that is waiting for the rocket, for that propellant to stop, so that it will push that rocket down. So the problem is that there are forces waiting for you. If you say, let me stop, let me just stay, let me just live my life, there are forces waiting for you to regress you. Check your house. If you live in a house and you never even think of doing any upgrade on the house, just let me just leave my house. Nature itself just starts degrading the house. If you keep a car on the road, this car might be new and on today, but just leave it, don't drive it, just leave it. Weather, everything, forces that are going to degrade that car, they are waiting for that car to just stop. So when you stop making progress, the forces that are bringing you down, regressing you, they are waiting for you. So that's the thing. Avoid average. Keep progressing in life. Keep getting better. No matter how badly something has worked out, pick up yourself up and keep aiming for the best. Keep aiming for excellent results, excellent outcomes. So on a spiritual level, on the emotional level, on the mental level, on the social level, on the physical. So spiritually, go deeper. Emotionally, go deeper. Mentally, go deeper. Read more. Think more. Think more. The people who are making more money are not working physically harder physically. The people who are making money are working smarter, and that's why they are wealthier. So think about it. Then socially, don't be a recluse. Many of us are introverts too, but we know that introvertedness does not pay. So we are getting out of the shell. So whatever shell you might have found yourself in, come out of the shell. It doesn't pay. There's something called social capital. So the more people you know, the more value you have. And it depends on the people, so one person can be worth 1 million people. One person can be worth 1 million aimless followers you might have. So be conscious about your social circles, and then physically you have to be up to speed. You have to be able to upgrade this physical container to carry more and carry you further. So the question that we're going to end this session with is, do you have a personal development plan? A progressive, it's not a personal development plan that you keep. Remember what we talked about when we're talking about destiny. Destiny is not like a plan, a blueprint somewhere. It's a journey. It's like a flowing river. So things get thrown in. You might lose your way along the way, but what you need to do is get right back on track. So do you have a dynamic personal development plan? So that plan is you're reviewing daily, you're checking it as you're hitting results, you're setting new ones, and then continuous personal development plan. That also should involve leadership development and other levels of development. So when you go beyond yourself. So we're getting to the end of this topic, and the concept of sugar and spice is for you to discover your sweetness and uncover your greatness. Your greatness has a lot to do with the influence you're able to exude. And influence, you don't exude influence in a vacuum. You exude influence on people. And so the more influential you are, the more valuable you are. That should be our goal, because there's an expectation. It says we are blessed to be a blessing. He says the least of us shall be 1,000. So he said he blessed. There's a certain guy in the scriptures, Isaac, that said he blessed. He became great, and he became so great. He waxed strong and became so great. So it's the desire. It's God's desire that we don't live our lives individually. There's enough space for us to influence, for us to lead in different aspects of life. So I can come in this sphere, I'm leading. In another sphere, I'm following another person. But each of us has that capacity to lead in one context or the other. And is that leadership, is that upgrade to leadership that actually gives us that greatness. So you uncover your greatness by upgrading your worth, upgrading your value. I think we have hit the mark I think we have 10 minutes more. So I'll open the floor for questions, so that we can use the next few minutes for questions before our time fully runs out. Or was I very clear? No question, no comment. You can unmute and ask your question if you want. If there are no questions, after 1 or 2 minutes, or after 1 minute, then we'll be sure that we got this. So
okay, thank you very much, Ma, for this short but powerful session. You mentioned about being an introvert. So I'm not, I won't call myself an introvert. I'm learning to reach out to people and all that. But where do you actually, like, what if you are, for me now, I don't really have much social gatherings that I attend. So like, where will one find all these social gatherings to meet up, to meet other people? And then it already seems that everyone has their own clique. So most times, some people don't even want to, like, what's the word? Some people don't even want to, like, open up to you. Like, so how do you now break into that space, especially if you see some people that you admire and you want to kind of roll with them?
Okay, so the best place to start is where they go to. Like you talked about, there's no place to meet people and all that. One very, very easy place to meet people is church. So church is one place. And then usually a lot of people in church, you come to church and you just stay with your clique. You said so too. So people just come and they just stay with their clique. So you need to start to learn how to use that opportunity when you come to church to do something called networking. And it's a skill. So it's a skill that can be learned. It's called networking. So you go out of your way to start up a conversation. That's, for introverts, it's very difficult. We just really want to stay in your space and don't talk to anybody. It has to be deliberate. It has to be intentional. So networking, getting to meet people, you have to be sure exactly who you want to meet. You can do the random one where you don't know the person beforehand, and then you just walk up to someone and get to know them. And so by the time you're talking to them, you're trying to understand common grounds. And then usually those people, with time, you're able to see some common ground. And then as you contribute, maybe you find a common ground, and then you contribute your quota to them, they also contribute their quota. So when you start to network, it's not going to be easy for people to just open up. So there's an investment that you need to make for the openness to happen. So if it's on a peer level, you might need to have to strike up conversations, intentional. So you plan what you're going to discuss, maybe ask questions around their area of expertise. So that's another way where you strike conversations, maybe for learning conversations. So that person actually feels that they're adding something by responding to you. And then in that context, you might also find something that you also would exchange. So knowledge exchange is one key way to strike that chord and start a relationship with people. But there can be the random one where you don't see people. So you have a general, let's meet people, let's connect, and let's do all that. So if you're looking out for places where people connect, events are happening every day. In fact, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I don't have time to attend some events. Events happen every day. So you have to just consciously look out for them. There is a site, maybe later on I'll look for it and post it on the group. So there's this place where you can go and find out what events are going on around where you live, Lagos or something. So you can look at, okay, these things, they could be a parenting event, it could be an IT event. So it depends on your interests. So you can go there. So that's a good way to learn networking. That's a good way to get to expand your network. And you also, there's something I wanted to say that skipped my mind about expanding your network, but I think it will come back to me. So that's basically what it just has to be intentional. It's just something you have to work out. It's something you have to say, I will do this consciously. And then you can, there's another tip I have, I'll remember it and share. Jennifer is raising her hand. So Jennifer, you can unmute and ask. Hi, Jennifer. You are raising your hand. Is it by mistake? Okay, I think it was in error. So, okay, so yeah, this is what I wanted to say. So another way you can also expand your network is by volunteering. So you can volunteer your skills in maybe like a high profile place where you know a lot of people are looking. So volunteering is a lot of that. Then social work and impact. People are always looking for more hands to come in. So that's a good way where you see people who who have the similar interests come together. Things like maybe you go to the slums to teach. There's this slum to school initiative. Some people that do go welfare, they go and feed, less privileged. There are a lot of such societies, so you can join them up, volunteer your time, and then get to meet people that do the same thing as you. So church, social circles, different events, volunteering initiatives. These are places you can meet people. But then you have to break through your intimidation of meeting people newly. So there's that internal restriction that you need to sort out to break out of that mold. So that's one thing you have to be able to sort out. But really, at the end of the day, it's something that is possible if you put in more consciousness to it. So it looks like Jennifer was raising her hand by mistake. So I don't see any questions, or are there questions on the chat? Okay, someone commented, avoid average. Yes, avoid average. So the topic for today is actually fortification. So that's what fortifies you, that commitment, that resolve to keep, fortifying yourself. So all you're adding, you're putting more cement, you're putting in rods. So you're fortifying yourself, you're upgrading yourself. What fortification is to make stronger, is to enrich, is to enhance. And the more you enhance yourself, the more you can carry. Remember the analogy I said about the foundation. So we have enhanced our foundation. We have built a foundation. We need to now build a building on it. So the more reinforcement on the walls, the more reinforcement in the building, the more rods we put in, the higher we can build it after we have built that strong foundation. So we can now start. And so the bigger a building, the more it can cover. The more people it can shield and shade. So how to upgrade yourself for excellent results is to keep on the journey of self-improvement. Never ever stop. Keep improving yourself on every level, every facet of your life. So the steps, the keys, the hows, the everything, there'll be generally some more sessions where we can drill down into exact hows for all these things. But the why is very key. Why is key. So you must establish that why, and then we can move ahead from there. Okay, so are we good? Any more questions? I don't see any questions. We're silent in this session today. Are we thinking? Are we brooding? Are we meditating? Okay.
Yes, Ma.
Yeah, so
thank you so much, Ma, for answering. I think I know where I need
I have a
to
question, Ma.
Okay, what question? We have 2 minutes, so you have to ask fast. Question? Who has a question? I thought I have a question.
I heard Jennifer talk just now.
Jennifer, I think she's having network issues. You can drop it on the chat. You can drop it on the chat, and then I can respond. Okay, I think she has network.
Okay.
Okay, so that personally in my life, I'm in a place where I'm expanding my capacity to carry more, to do more. It can really be frightening. It can really be exhausting. It can really be, intimidating sometimes. But one of the things that helps you scale through this period is having a support system. When you talk about social circles, it's not just random people. You should also build that social circle of support, a support group, where that's part of certification, that's part of reinforcement. So there are people who support you. So when you want to cry, you have people you cry to. When you're tired, you have people you go and talk to, and they tell you, no, keep moving. So it's very key for us to be conscious of all that, because you see, we can't, some of us just feel we want to be superhuman. No, You can't be super. The fact that people are achieving more, this does not mean that they are doing it by their might or their strength. So if you notice, there are things they are doing, there are things they understand boundaries, they understand their limits and all that. So you have to understand your limits in this journey to greatness. Understand your limits. So we're going to be wrapping up here. We'll take the rest of the conversation to the chat. If you have anything to drop, you can drop it there. So I'll be dropping questions for understanding, and then I hope we would respond with the answers. We would have certificates at the end, but it's those that do the work that will get the certificate. So thank you all for joining.